Alright guys, it's Canadian, and today we're doing another VOD review. This is going to be of a Grandmaster player, YouTube username Felix B. He submitted this VOD for review, and we are going to do it today. If this is your first time watching one of these, I am Canadian. I do Zarya VOD reviews 3 times a week, pretty regularly on my Twitch channel. I am a 4200 Grandmaster Zarya main myself, and I have a pretty active YouTube where I make Zarya guides, post all these Zarya VOD reviews, as well as my own Grandmaster gameplay. If you want to check out any of that stuff, it will be in the description below the video. Anyway, today we're reviewing Felix B Zarya, and we're going to see, how he does, call him out on what he does right, and call him out on what he does wrong, and let's get started. That was a really good bubble. This was like, so you've been, so a couple things. You have an allied Roadhog, so this is your only other frontliner, so that's good. I think the enemy team, yeah, the enemy team has a Roadhog too. So now you know that there's a Roadhog on the field. You have to really save your projected barrier in case something happens and you need it. So you've been really disciplined holding this projected barrier this whole time, and we see an amazing projected barrier come out because he has been waiting for an opportunity to make a big impact with his barrier. So right here we see in the corner our Ana, she tried to toss a grenade at this enemy Genji, but it was reflected in her face, and she is going to die 100%. But thankfully our Zarya comes in clutch with a bubble, cleanses this debuff, and now she can get healed up by Lucio. I just want to see where our personal shield went. So we used our personal shield right there, it looked like, to maybe avoid getting hooked. So obviously, watching it back, we can see the hook came out first and he missed, but in the moment, it might be just like a little bit of a timing thing, so you can't, no, not a big deal there. But again, this was a really, really good bubble. Look, oh, I take it back. She still had her grenade. The enemy Ana must have hit her. So she got cleansed, and then her own grenade healed her up, so she does not die, thankfully, due to the quick actions of our Zarya. So really, really good bubble there. And we can see we've got some decent charge with, even though we haven't used many bubbles, right? We used a personal shield here, which looks like gave us a full 40 because Roadhog shot us. And then we get a decent amount here, about 12. Well, we don't get like an amazing amount. That's okay. We made an impact. We made a difference.
How did Roadhog live?
See, so a couple things here, right? Based on the the composition we've seen from our allied team so far, Lucio, Ana, Roadhog, Zarya, and I don't know what our DPS is. Looks like a McCree at least. So we don't really have a solid way to push in, especially when our Zarya doesn't have any bubbles. So we're seeing some really, what I think is smart, tempered aggression or an understanding of our window of opportunity to push in. So like right now, our Zarya, who is basically our front line, because Roadhog's all the way over here, our Zarya cannot push into this because, I mean, well, both healers are here, and it definitely is doable if these both healers commit to, pocketing our Zarya. She could get instantly blown up. Like if enemy Ana grenade comes through, we don't have a bubble to cleanse ourselves, and then we could die. So we can't really expect our Zarya to go in here, and that's exactly what we see. Our Zarya is not going in, they're waiting patiently, and then I expect with this next rotation of bubbles, we are going to see a push on the point. That's what I'm really hoping for.
I mean, how did Monkey live?
So, well, we do get a lot of energy for these bubbles, so the thing is here that as Zarya, when we're using our bubbles like this to like get energy, and the reason I'm deeming that we're using them for energy versus for making a play is because our Zarya never goes beyond this line right here. Right, we push up to right here, use a bubble, and then back out. And well, that is great Zarya play in terms of, eating spam in a poke phase, and there's nothing to contest. Right now, the enemy team does have the objective, and it looks like we do have a numbers advantage. So I want to see us push in as the frontliner, just based on the composition we're playing with, push in with these bubbles to make a play. You know, Roadhog's getting healed up. You can push in here. He'll turn this corner with you, and maybe you guys can, you know, get a kill on one of these two people. So, but what ends up happening is, like I said, we use this personal shield here, which does a great job of eating spam, and then another shield here, which does again another good job of eating spam. Like Roadhog hasn't hooked anyone yet. No one has been hooked yet. So we could have held this bubble in for one of those two circumstances. But instead we use the shield here on our Roadhog, and it gives us a bunch of energy, but we're not any closer to taking the point. Now, this is an amazing kill on the Genji. You know, that was a really good, you know, tracking, right? He jumps up in the air, just obliterates him. So that was really good, and you just have an even stronger numbers advantage now. So you definitely need to see that numbers advantage come into play. You have the charge. You spent about 12%, you know, building up your charge. Now you need to use this charge, use these barriers to use your advantage to retake the point. So right here, just a small thing is, you do a great job of trying to grenade this Tracer, and then she jumps over here. And when she's outside of beam range right here, you had 45 ammo still. I would have liked to see you toss a grenade to maybe knock her to the side, and then you could have beamed her. But again, that's just a really small thing, because you ended up reloading with the 45 ammo. And well, the 45 ammo reload isn't bad because there isn't anyone, you know, really on your screen to shoot. You know, Tracer's over here and Zen's, you know, out of range. I definitely think using this 40 ammo to pressure this Tracer more would have been just a tiny improvement. That's just, you know, this isn't like a right or wrong thing. That's just how I feel about it. I don't really think that's 100% right. I'm sure there's someone else will have a better idea of what to do in like that moment, but that's what I would have done. Good kill by your Roadhog. So right here, we see a bubble go out into our Genji, who is diving in. He doesn't get a reset. I probably wouldn't have bubbled him yet because we see he's full health. He probably has Reflect, which I think we hear come out. You know, especially since the enemy team does have that Roadhog, we can either, you know, wait for him to take some damage, or wait for him to get hooked, or wait for someone else to get hooked before using this bubble. And because this bubble isn't really accomplishing anything except giving him an added sense of security, and since the bubble comes out so preemptively, the enemy team will know not to shoot it. By the way, you can just punch him through the shield here. You know, just a tiny thing, right? He has about 30 HP. You can melee right through a Rhine shield. Melee does 30 damage, but he's nano boosted, so you'll do about 15. So, you know, 2 melees and he'll be dead. Again, not something you did wrong, just something to, you know, be aware of. Because you're committing a lot of time to, like, trying to run through the shield when you could have just punched him twice. He's 1 HP. So these two bubbles we see come out of our Zarya right here are we have won the fight bubbles. So, you know, there's nothing really too much to say about them. You know, maybe they're not extremely effective, maybe they're not extremely efficient, right? We're using our personal shield and getting 7 energy, and then we use our projected barrier and get, like, I don't know, 5 energy. And so in terms of barrier efficiency, it's not great, but based on what's happening in the game, you know, we've taken the point, we've killed their front line. We're not going to be punished for these barriers. A situation isn't going to come up, fingers crossed, where we're going to wish we had a barrier, so we can use those barriers like we just did. Now, my main fear is we just use both barriers, and our team just pile drives forward, and the enemy team has a Roadhog. Look at our Zarya's positioning, and look at our front line's positioning. If one of these two people get hooked, you know, number one, our Zarya is in no way close enough to toss a shield on any person that gets hooked from this distance because they're too far and there's a big wall in the way. And number two is we don't even have our barrier ready. So I think this positioning is a bit suboptimal. I want to see our Zarya play with the front line. Now, pushing up this far, is that right or wrong? That's kind of a different discussion. I personally don't think this is the right scenario for our team because they have a big Rhine shield, which we did just kill, but the big Rhine shield is going to come back, and Roadhog and McCree, Zarya, Anna, they can't do anything to this shield. I mean, he's just going to march in, and the Roadhog's going to stand behind the shield and maybe get a hook. And that's when we're going to hope Zarya has a bubble for that situation. So again, right here, we're seeing the part where we are pushing up, but look at, our line of sight. If a Roadhog comes through this door and he goes right here, and he hooks someone, our Zarya is not in a position to bubble said person. Now, we're doing a good job of using our personal shield here to eat spam because we are definitely in a poke phase, especially because McCree did just kill Genji, so it's going to be even more time before the enemy team regroups. So we can use our personal shield like this to get energy, and since we are such high energy, I don't think we should use projected barrier for energy because we are already so high as it is. Now you could, it's just a calculated risk, right? Like I said, we are in a poke phase. You could use this barrier for energy, but remember the other team has a Roadhog and that is a big threat.
We're gonna heal me up. I got so much.
Right. So I think the communication that's happening up here in the top left is mentioning,
I got so much.
or it doesn't look like it too much, but at least the Genji and the Ana are on the same page. He gets down a boosted. He Dragon Blades. Our Zarya, who has been really disciplined with this bubble, holding it for a situation when it's needed, does a great job of tossing it on her Genji, so he can't get slept or earth shattered or anything like that. So again, really good bubble there. Our personal shield was just kind of whatever. We use it right here. We eat the Fire Strike, and so I said whatever before, but this is still a good personal shield. Now, obviously, as Zarya, we have to watch out for Rein charges. Don't make sure sidestep. We get the charge. We're keeping our energy up with personal shield, which is always what I prefer instead of using projected barrier to do so, which enables us to, get this great barrier on our Genji and win this fight. Yeah, I mean, really solid play from our front line as well as good follow-up from our Zarya, right? So the Genji goes in, is creating this gigantic distraction right here. And then our Zarya, even though our Zarya doesn't have barrier, she realizes, hey, everyone's going to be looking at the Genji, I can push in, which is exactly what she does, right? Reinhardt is looking over here, trying to get a charge. Genji's looking over here, trying to hit the other Genji. Our Ana's looking at Rein, healing him. So our Zarya just walks up, obliterates the Ana, and then our Genji, who is, like I said, not looking at us, just gets chunked by our Zarya, and it's a one fight. So 2 ults to win the fight, which is always really good. Now, we have Graviton. Roadhog should have Whole Hog, so that's the next play here. So I want to see us communicating that play. Again, we just saw another great use of using specifically personal shield in a poke phase to keep our charge up, right? Our Zarya, we know this is a poke phase. The enemy Reinhardt's not here. They're not marching through this door. We have the time to do exactly this, and at the end of the day, we still have our projected barrier in case we need it. So again, beautiful use of the personal shield to keep our energy going. We can decay all the way down to 20 and jump right back to 100 with good personal shield use. And the fact that we're sitting at 74, if you decay to 60, I still think that's fine because then one good personal shield puts you right back up at 100. So we're doing a great job of maintaining our energy while also being disciplined with our projected barrier cooldown. Oh, let's rewind and let me slow it down. So it looks like our Zarya and Roadhog are on the same page. They know that this is the combo they want to play. We go really aggressive to get this Graviton, which is fine. Now, it looks like at least your Ana was aware that Zenyatta had Transcendence, and she gets a great grenade in here. And then also, let's look at this grab, right? We were kind of waiting in the wings. We know that they have to push onto the point, so they're either going to go this way or they're going to go this way. The only main criticism I have here is we don't know where our Roadhog is, and we probably could have done this just a little bit safer. Now, the way you played this grab is still totally fine. It's unfortunate you died. The other thing is the enemy Genji is around somewhere. Now, I don't think we saw him, so it's fortunate that we don't like get this reflected in our face. Right, because we see Soldier here. I just saw Ana behind that pillar. We've got Reinhardt here, Roadhog's right here, and then right when he goes forward, we see the Zenyatta here, and then here's the enemy Genji, which really was the main threat to us in case he had reflect. Now, we would do a great job of just ulting right into the floor, so Genji doesn't really have a window to reflect it, so there's another positive. Like I said, the main thing is we don't know where our allied Roadhog is. Is he behind us? Are we in a position to, shield him, make sure he doesn't get CC'd and stuff like that? So again, those are just a couple of small things, but this is a great grab. You catch basically the whole team. Your Ana gets a really good grenade. I don't know where the heck she threw that from. We see our allied Roadhog is right here. Unfortunately, we died so quickly, we were not able to put a shield on him. I'm really hoping this fight turns in our favor because it looks like it's going in our favor. Yeah, definitely looks like it. So, again, like I said, it's, the communication was there from the Zarya to the team. The Ana grenade follow-up, the Roadhog follow-up. It was a really good grab. You caught a lot of members, a lot of key members, too. Catching key members is the goal. But catching a lot of members, including key members, is the best. So that was a great Graviton. You played it very well. It's just unfortunate that you did die. And what I said before about maybe you could have shot it from like a bit of a safer location, like as much as I mean that, the farther you are away from the enemy team, the more risk there is for the enemy Genji to like block it. So I think it's completely worth it that you got a great Graviton off and died doing it to enable your team to just get the follow-up. It's not optimal, but it's worth it. The enemy team has Earth Shatter, so that's the main thing. Without any shields on your team, that's the main thing you have to be worried about. So this personal shield here is fine because the distance between the teams is still like kind of poke phase worthy. So this personal shield is fine. I think the follow-up shield though is a bit not optimal because you shield him right here, but look how close the enemy team is. Right? I don't think he was taking any damage. All right, let me see. What was our energy before we applied that barrier? Like we shielded him just because he's our fat ally in front of the enemy team, but we don't actually see that he's taking any hits. So we shielded him with 24 energy, and the enemy team, since you shielded so preemptively, they're just like, look, a Zarya barrier, nobody shoot it, because they weren't attacking him anyway. So we don't get any value out of that barrier, and now we're going into this final fight without this barrier. And it looks like our Genji, yeah, see, our Genji had Dragon Blade. We see it up here in the corner after the fight starts, and I really would have liked to see us save our barrier for our Genji instead of that, wasted barrier on our Roadhog. Right there. He gets hit by the Reinhardt's Earth Shatter and then instantly dies to Zenyatta. So if we had had a barrier for him, he probably wouldn't die to Zen right there. And let me just showcase that one more time. Right, he dives in. This Reinhardt does a complete 180. He's full health. And then there's the Earth Shatter, and he gets knocked down and gets killed by the enemy Zen. So this is where I would have liked us to toss a barrier right when he, dashed in. But, it's unfortunate the way it happened. Good kill on the Zen. Probably going to be a good kill on the Soldier here. I like your use of the grenade right here because Soldier does have to run up the stairs. And, anyone going uphill is just, like, all this space to launch a grenade at. So you get a really good grenade on him right there. Like, he only hits the outskirts, but still a great beam grenade decision making. Good barrier on your Hog there. See, this barrier is different, right? We see our Hog is in the midst of multiple enemies. He is taking damage. So this is the barrier on Hog that we were looking for before. And this is the one, this is the better barrier. And I think that's pretty clear. Good shields to protect yourself. Oh, you did such a good job of stalling as long as you could. Unfortunately, there's just no follow-up, but there's not much else you could do. But you did a great job there. You did as much damage as you could. you dodged the enemy hook, you used your barrier to eat damage yourself to increase your charge. I mean, you did as much as you could. And guys, I want to point out, this guy's doing a great job, right? We've seen his whole game so far, right? He's been pretty disciplined with his projected barriers for the most part, and he's still maintaining 54% average energy. So it just goes to show that you don't need to be tossing both of your barriers out every 10 seconds to keep your energy up. It's about playing smart with your barriers, not it's quality over quantity. That's what I look for in review in these games. Oh, that is unfortunate. I mean, you guys have plenty of time. You just have to regroup. There's no reason to keep staggering like this. Now, as Zarya, once you've respawned, you can, play forward into like this door right here, just try and get some spam and then fall back. Just kind of stay out of Roadhog's hook range. Now you choose not to do that, which is, just your personal preference. That's what I would have done for like one rotation of personal shield, because by the time saunter back up to the point, you would have it back. But again, just a little bit of personal preference, just a small optimization to be made there. Diving right for the healers. I like the commitment. We're like this Zarya's doing good. We hear the enemy attack visor come out, and he is looking around for someone to shield. Right there. There's the attack visor. He sees it. He hears it. So he looks to the left. Is someone in? He looks to the right. Are you in danger? No, you're behind cover. He looks to the left. Are you in danger? No, you're behind cover. Okay, you're back out of cover. Do you need a bubble? Do you need it? Yes, you do. Gives it to the Roadhog who got hooked. Again, just really good discipline, really good awareness from our allied Zarya. Unfortunately, Zarya only has one bubble, so we can't stop everything. This Genji does, come right for us, does get a kill on our Ana, but hey, great use of grenade, versus a small, nimble character, right? Let's look at our grenade usage here. One grenade there. I mean, he jumped up, so it missed, which was a little unfortunate, but it was the completely right idea if he was on the ground slashing the Ana. And then he's on top of us, so we just shoot a grenade right at our feet and we get the kill, right? This 50 energy grenade does 45 base, so it's going to be doing, I don't know, about 22 more, so it's about a 70-ish damage grenade. I mean, that's a lot of damage versus a character that only has 200 HP, so really good, like I said before, really good beam grenade discipline. Our Zarya makes the right call to just jump off the map. Nothing more to be done here. They have the point, although they did blow a lot of ultimates. We're about to have 5, right? These 3, as well as Graviton, so we really need to see something happen here. I'd like to open up with a, nano boosted high noon probably, which will give you time to push into the point, and then that'll give you time to get Graviton, and then you and Roadhog can combo and just win the fight. Go. Now, they do have Transcendence, or they should. That's the main way the enemy team is going to stop your guys' supercharged push. Oh, unfortunately, this is a good bubble on your Roadhog. He is trying to ult into the enemy team, so it stops him from getting, crowd controlled, so this bubble is completely fine. Unfortunately, they did boost the Hog when our Zarya was so close to Graviton. By the way, just a small thing I want to point out. Before in this match, I was saying, we are breaking line of sight with our team, and that's bad because we can't barrier them. But this situation that's about to play on the screen showcases when it's okay to break line of sight. When it's okay to break line of sight is when you do not have a projected barrier. Now, you can still protect allies by body blocking with a personal shield, but those opportunities are not as common as protecting someone with projected barrier. So what we see happen here is, there's a Reinhardt stuffing in our face. We have to touch the point. We already used projected barrier. So our Zarya, who flanks around, this is fine because we're going to go onto the point, use our own personal shield to touch, and no one is going to be worse off because of it when we broke line of sight with our team, because we don't even have a projected barrier. Did I miss-see that before? I could have sworn your Roadhog was ulting right here. Oh, it's the enemy Roadhog ulting. Okay. Oh, so okay, so I read this wrong. So this is a strange nano boost. Still can't really fault you for shielding him, because if your Roadhog gets nano boosted, you kind of expect him to use his ultimate, so Still not gonna fault you for shielding him there. It's kind of weird. That was kind of a weird nano boost. Anyway, we push into this fight. We see like I said, the big counterplay to our push is the Transcendence. We see it come out. We know, okay, this is our window of opportunity. We have to get this Graviton. We have to live, and we have the safety, right? We're full HP. We've got personal shield. We shoot this Ana. We get the Graviton, and now we just need to get a good grab. So our Zarya makes a beautiful decision. I don't know if you saw that, but McCree kills the enemy Ana with High Noon. Right here, he sees the eliminator on his screen because he was thinking about grabbing the Ana, and he's like, wait, no, she's dead. Turns right for the front line, which I think is a great idea. You know, just Zenyatta healing without Transcendence. There's no way they're going to live this if there's follow-up from your team. So he gets a really good Graviton off, shoots a right-click right at his feet. He's going to do as much damage as he can, shields his ulting teammate, right, who still had the whole hog, right? So now we've got the combo going. We've got the Roadhog Zarya combo. And look at this. Beautiful, beautiful shield. He's got like 100 HP. Our Zarya in her like, dying breath tosses the shield his way. Where did you take so much damage? There goes 150. Wow, this Genji obliterated. Oh, Zenyatta too. Genji and Zenyatta both just obliterated you. That was unfortunate. But still, if your team can kill the front line, you know, there goes Roadhog. It doesn't look like Reinhardt died yet. Uh-oh, it's not looking good.
I'm dead, you don't have heals.
Yeah, I think you know, the unfortunate thing was definitely that nano boost. If it had been used on anyone else doing anything else, it probably would have been better. Now we end that round at 46% average energy. You know, I'm not afraid to admit it, that's usually way higher than IN rounds. So this guy's doing a great job. Like I said, we've seen all his barriers. He's being very disciplined with them. Usually, he's having very good barriers most of the time. We've only seen a very small number be pretty questionable, and the main one that was punished was the barrier on the Roadhog right as his allied Genji ulted. That was highly unfortunate. But so the closing notes for this round are: you're doing a really, really good job. Your beam grenade decision making is great. You've had 2 really good Gravitons each time comboing with a teammate. That was really good. I believe you shielded. Oh, you didn't. The first time you couldn't shield your teammate because you died, but the second time you definitely did. There was just like a couple positioning things which are already called out. You know, kind of separating from your team when you have your shields available. But besides that, you're doing a great job of eating that spam. You know, initiating the poke phase with the enemy and then backing out of it after you've gotten the charge that you wanted. So again, really solid foundations, really good job. It's unfortunate you guys lost that round, but you know, that's okay. You know, as the Zarya player, you're doing a really good job. Anyways, let's move on to round 2. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on the right hand side, and if you want to see more videos, check out these 2 on the left. Again, thank you so much for watching and have a good one.